Hello, everyone, and welcome to WCBN Sports' broadcast of Michigan Wolverines softball versus the Fort Wayne Mastodons. We are coming to you live from Oxford, Ohio, the second game of the day today for the Michigan Wolverines, and it's not even 12:30 yet. We're almost ready to get things going here. Looks like Fort Wayne will be the visitors, the Wolverines, the home team. In the circle for the Wolverines, Megan Bobian. You've already heard all there is to say about her, looking to add to an already legendary stat line this season. In the circle for the Fort Wayne Mastodons, Bailey Benefiel, a senior who has already had a roller coaster of her career, started off in junior college, played at Indiana State for a year, and then transferred to Fort Wayne last year. On the year this year, a 2.87 ERA, a 7-5 win-loss ratio. Started 12 games, 9 complete games in that total, 80 strikeouts, 33 walks, 24 hit by pitches. That's in the scouting report that we got from our man from Fort Wayne, who's going to be sitting to our left. So the Wolverines going up against Fort Wayne's ace here to start their day and end off the Wolverines' trip into Oxford. My name's Morris Fabry. Alongside me, Lucas Vargas. Any thoughts heading into this one?
Well, that's a lot of hit by pitches, a lot of ways to walk batters. But as the man said as well, she is not afraid to go inside. And so she will attack looking for strikeouts as well.
So the lineup for Fort Wayne that will be going up against Megan Bobian, leading off and playing shortstop is Lacey Wilsbacher, hitting second at second base, Lauren Watson, hitting third at first base, Morgan Denny, hitting fourth behind the plate, Maria Palmigiani, hitting fifth, the designated hitter, Demetra Burns, hitting sixth in right field, Jenna Baltazar, hitting seventh in left field, Courtney Holm, hitting eighth at third base, Lexi Smolars, and hitting ninth in center field, Brooke Immel. The Mastodons come into this game at, I believe, their record on the season is 12-18. They're coming in on a 2-game winning streak with a run rule victory against Robert Morris yesterday, followed by a close 6-5 victory over the home Redhawks. The Wolverines, of course, on a 15-game winning streak, 7-0 victories over Dayton and Miami of Ohio yesterday. And earlier today, Sarah Schaefer threw a 5-inning perfect game on her birthday in a 14-0 victory over the Robert Morris Colonials.
Yeah, that was a fact that we learned after the fact. May have been nice to know during the broadcast, but very impressive feat for her. And she had a phenomenal weekend. See if Megan Bobian can build on a good day that she had yesterday as well. Her second time pitching this weekend as no Terra Blanco.
Yeah, Bobian, a complete game shutout yesterday. Something like 11 strikeouts. That came against Miami, Ohio. Started a little bit erratic, but took a little time, but honed in her first pitch today. A hard curveball for a strike at the knees right down Broadway. Time of the start here, 12:21 p.m. Still not a cloud in the sky here in Oxford. Bobian gets the sign from Alexander. The 0-1 pitch swung on, popped up behind third base, ranging toward the edge of the dirt along the left side of the stadium is Maddie Uden. Just out of her reach, the ball lands foul. The count 0-2. Natalia Rodriguez just a little too far away. She had an easier angle, but too much distance. The 0-2 on its way, swinging a pop-up foul to the right side. Lacey Wilsbacher, the shortstop, a junior, hitting .280 on the season.
I will say I am a fan of the Fort Wayne uniforms. Kind of remind me a little bit about Northwesterns.
Yeah, it's a black and gray mix as a swing and a miss from Wilsbacher on a changeup in the dirt. The throw down to first from Alexander, a bit high. Aiden Falk playing down there in this one for the Wolverines, has to stretch a bit to make the grab, but does so, keeps her foot on the base for the first out.
Megan Bobian picking up where she left off, getting one batter down, swinging, foul tip, but
take that nonetheless. That brings up Lauren Watson, the lefty junior, awaits the first pitch from Beaubien, and it's a drop ball that ducks low for ball one. Watson, a junior, hitting .274 on the season. No home runs, 2 RBI.
Aiden Falk manning first base this afternoon. Swearingen manned first base this morning.
The 1-0 pitch dips down below the hands of the batter Watson for ball two. The count 2-0. The infield in. Watson, the lefty, looks to be taking a slap approach. Swinging a slow roller over toward third. Going to be a tough play for Uden. She bobbles it. Was going to be hard pressed to get Watson at first either way. If you ask me, that's a 1-out single here in the top of the first inning for the Fort Wayne Mastodons. So 1 aboard for Morgan Denny. The freshman first baseman hits third in the lineup. She's got 3 home runs and 11 RBI to go along with a .286 average. Wide stance toward the back of the box. Awaits the first pitch. Hard curveball called strike on the outer edge. It was scored as an error on Madison Uden. It was not scored as an error on Madison Uden. Beaubien winds. Pitch on the way. Dips down low. The count even at 1-1 against Morgan Denny. It's just a case of the game starting a little bit ahead of schedule, and so not everybody quite on the same page quite yet. The 1-1 on its way, swinging a tapper foul off of her back shin, her left shin.
Yeah, we did get a chance to see Fort Wayne yesterday while we were here awaiting Michigan's second game of the day against the Miami, Ohio host team. We saw them run rule Robert Morris, who Michigan defeated earlier today, 14-0.
Beaubien gets the sign, the 1-2 on its way to Denny. Swing and a miss. The high heater, the rise ball out of the left arm of Megan Beaubien gets her second strikeout here in the first frame. That's going to bring up the righty Maria Palmagiani, the sophomore, a catcher hitting .267 on the season. First pitch from Beaubien, swing and a miss. Change up, pulled the string, just lethal stuff from Megan Beaubien, and she's got it going early.
Yeah, a lot more comfortable start than we saw yesterday when she started against Miami. A little uncomfortable at the beginning of that game. Eventually settled into normal Megan, but I'd say she's off to a much better start so far today.
And right as I say that, and a ground ball through the right side. It's a 2-out base hit for Palmagiani, extending the inning. Good job of just going with the pitch where it was placed on the outer edge and sliding it right in between Falk and Canfield and toward Haley Hoganrod, who is out in right field in this game. Looks like Courtney Richardson has gotten the start in left field for the Maize and Blue. I was just commenting on her absence being somewhat noteworthy because she did show some positive signs last year for the Michigan Wolverines. But it appears as though now is her time to shine and earn some more PT. That'll bring up Demetra Burns, the senior DHing today, takes the first pitch. A hard riser just misses off the plate outside for ball one. Burns, a righty. 2 for 15 on the season at the plate. The 1-0 pitch. Curveball misses low. Pops out of the glove of Katie Alexander, but she pounces on it and prevents any runners from advancing.
Looks like they're going to look at a couple mechanical issues with Megan Beaubien right now on the mound visit.
Yeah, she's probably seen a little more of Biggie Brundage than she would like
in this tournament so far. I'd have to agree with that statement.
Bonnie Thole also coming out of the dugout to share some words with Madison Uden, some advice in regards to how she fielded that infield single that started things for the Mastodons with 1 out from Lauren Watson, demonstrating some glove work. She'll take it in stride. Beaubien will take her advice and head back into the circle, standing behind the mound, tossing the ball, practicing the spin as Burns readies in the righty batter's box. Beaubien gets the sign, the 2-0 pitch, curveball, just misses off the plate away, and the count runs to 3-0. Beaubien loaded the bases in the first inning of her outing yesterday against Miami of Ohio. The 3-0 pitch, swinging a foul back to the screen. Curveball in on her hands. Interesting to see Burns get the green light with a 3-0 count.
Yeah, not something you see too often. Usually batters will take that unless it's very clear strike down the middle.
3-1 pitch. Curveball misses low. Ball 4. Beaubien, a first inning walk, loads the bases here with 2 outs for Fort Wayne.
So far at this tournament, Fort Wayne is 2-2. They lost both games on Friday, both 9-4 being the score against Dayton and Miami. And then yesterday, a 10-1 win versus Robert Morris and a 6-5 win against Miami, Ohio.
First pitch to Jenna Baltazar is a drop ball that ducks low for ball 1. Beaubien notable for her lack of walks relative to strikeouts. Really, her lack of letting any base runners aboard this season has been a little bit wild in Oxford, at least relative to the standard she set for herself. Jenna Baltazar, the right fielder, awaits the 0-1. Half cut and a miss. That ball was by her before she really had a chance to square it up. The count moves to 1-1. Baltazar, a lefty, hitting .243 on the season. Hitting 1,000 with the bases loaded. The 1-1 on its way, swinging a slow roller toward the left side. Ryuden ranging far to her left, fields and fires to first for the final out of the inning. So Beaubien loads the bases yet again, escapes unscathed. We head to the bottom of the first, scoreless, here on WCBN Sports' broadcast of Michigan softball.
And now we'll see if the Wolverine offense can pick up where it left off just basically 30 minutes ago, scoring 14 runs in 5 innings of play. They were overpowering for Robert Morris Colonials, and Fort Wayne proved to be a better team than Robert Morris yesterday. So we'll see if Michigan can elevate their offense again against maybe a little bit higher level of an opponent.
Unfortunately for Robert Morris, they have been overpowered by most of the teams they've played this weekend. A 2-1 loss to Dayton to open things remains the only game where they have not been run ruled. But let's talk about Fort Wayne's jerseys for the moment. They got all black pants, black socks, for the most part, black cleats. The tops, they have black from, the belt up to the midriff, then a couple of black stripes, one thick, one narrow, going up the torso, spotted with one white stripe in between, and then the rest of the top gray. Some stripes on the sleeves, really snazzy stuff. That all complements a piercing blue visor and blue ribbons in the hair of some of the players.
I was going to say it is visor season, and I think the blue works perfectly with those colors.
Yeah, these are the sharpest uniforms of the weekend. I'm a big fan of the Wolverines maize jerseys, but these Fort Wayne duds take the cake. So it'll be Canfield leading off against Bailey Benefiel, followed by Natalie Peters, Madison Uden, Aiden Falk, Alex Subject, Haley Hoganrod, Katie Alexander, Courtney Richardson, and, of course, rounding out the order at shortstop, Natalia Rodriguez. Bailey Benefiel in the circle. The senior boasting a .287 ERA on the season, dips down near the dirt and delivers the first pitch, a curveball on the outside corner for a called strike. Benefiel with an odd delivery to home plate. As she winds up to deliver, her left knee dips down to about maybe 3 or 4 inches above the ground before she uncurls and finally winds to the plate. Canfield turns on the 0-1 pitch and lines it foul down the left field line.
Michigan has the opportunity to be the batting team in the bottom of the inning for the first time since their opener against Dayton as well.
The temperature now up to 46 here in Oxford. The wind blowing from right to left.
Some nice warm Midwestern softball temperatures.
Benefiel gets her sign. The 0-2 on its way to Canfield, swinging a line drive, shallow right field, tailing away from the oncoming Baltazar, and it'll fall for a leadoff base hit for Faith Canfield. Last game, she led off with a single to left. This time, a single to right. A change of pace, but the same result for the Wolverines second baseman, who I think might have tweaked something getting down the line and now walking it off, striding up and down that first baseline.
Faith Canfield, now batting over 356, continues to carry a phenomenal bat to the plate.
Canfield flashed a thumbs up to the dugout, or maybe toward Coach Carol Hutchins on that third base side. She'll remain on the base paths, and that brings up Natalie Peters, who has had herself quite the solid weekend. First pitch from Benefiel on its way. Curveball misses a bit high, looking for that outer edge. Ball 1 to the center fielder from Michigan. Peters earned 2 out of Michigan's 12 walks in last game's win over Robert Morris.
Yes, an astounding number of walks allowed the Wolverines cashed in on several walk-in opportunities.
The 1-0. Curveball misses off the plate away. The count runs to 2-0 on Natalie Peters. Peters, the junior center fielder, has seen an uptick in her play as of late after a slow start. Yesterday just peppered that left side of the infield and shallow outfield with line drive after line drive. The 2-0 pitch on its way from Benefiel. She squares to bunt, pulls back. Canfield, the runner, is going. No throw. She got a good jump, and it didn't really look like Palmigiani, the catcher, was ready for her to go. It's a stolen base for Faith Canfield, and the count runs to 3-0 on Natalie Peters. And it looks like a brief conference. I don't see any substitutions coming, but a word from Fort Wayne's head coach to home plate umpire Tony Greer.
Looks like they're questioning some sort of rule, but
probably whether or not Canfield left early. But she remains on the base path, so the umps saw nothing afoot. The 3-0 on its way from Benefiel, that one right down Broadway for a called strike 1. The first base umpire in this one, Dave Bowen. Down at third base is Tim Clem, reportedly. Benefiel gets the sign. 3-1 on its way to Natalie Peters, swinging a slow roller toward the right side. Going to advance the runner and do no more as Watson, the second baseman, a quick field transition and throw to first to get Peters by a step.
Say a more rare grounder to the right side of the diamond for Natalie Peters, but in this case, it works to her advantage as Faith Canfield can actually advance to third base.
Works the same as a sacrifice bunt. It just counts against her in the batting average stat column. That brings up Madison Uden hitting in the 3-hole. Had a 2-run shot to left, her first at-bat of last game. Benefiel dips down, delivers. First pitch changeup off the plate away for ball 1. Uden having a very strong weekend for herself as part of what has been a very strong sophomore season for the lefty infielder on the left side. She awaits the 1-0 from Benefiel. Hard curveball called strike above the belt on the outer half. Infield and outfield straight away. Wide gap up the middle. Uden stands rather close to the plate, midway between the front and back of the box. Weight on her back foot. The 1-1 on its way, swinging a pop-up behind the infield. Going to be a tough play for Wilsbacher. Coming on is the left fielder home, and it bounces off of her glove, falls into shallow left. Scoring on the play is Faith Canfield, and scooting into second base is Madison Uden. That one likely going to go down as an error on the left fielder home. It was always going to be trouble for Wilsbacher ranging out back into that outfield grass, but that's a play that needs to be made.
Well, Canfield had the awareness to come home on the drop, obviously, but how about Uden with the hustle to run it all the way out to second base, even though it did look like a pop-out play that could have been made. She is safe at second for a double, so good hustle for her.
That brings up Aiden Falk. First pitch, changeup called strike at the knees on the Michigan lefty. Yeah, absolutely hustling out of the box. I'm sure she knew off the bat that it could have been troublesome. The ball hung up there for a while, but Fort Wayne's outfield, respecting the power of Uden, was lined up pretty deep, so it was a long run for the left fielder home. The 0-1 pitch on its way to Falk misses high and outside for ball one. So Uden at second. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Michigan with a 1-0 lead over the Fort Wayne Mastodons. Fantastic mascot. The 1-1 pitch, change up just a bit, either low or outside. Might have been both. The count moves to 2-1, a close pitch. Good take from the Michigan DH. Outfield straightaway. Watson, the second baseman, near the grass, deep in the hole at second. Benefield dips down, winds the 2-1, swinging a line drive. That one's going to get down for a base hit. Uden's going to score from second base as the ball gets away from the center fielder, Immel. Falk will cruise into second with a single and then advancing on the error to second. And an RBI as Michigan takes a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning.
A couple of errors proving very costly for the Mastodons right now. Michigan able to capitalize on each of them with runs. I would say that Aiden Falk likely would have brought a run back anyways, but being able to advance to second once again puts the Wolverines in a favorable position.
Yeah, not a lot of speed on the base paths in this portion of the lineup. The possibility of a double play, while it's unlikely, it does loom. The Wolverines have grounded into a couple this weekend, but yeah, once you get down to second, it sort of nullifies that possibility. That'll bring up Alex Subject. Had a good first game of the day. The highlight, a long double to left field. Also a bloop double that cleared the bases. 1 out, 1 on, the pitch from Benefield. Drop ball called strike at the knees, right down the middle. Subject stands near the back of the box, slightly open stance. Calm, unmoving as she awaits the pitch from Benefield. The 0-1 pitch comes up and in, the count even at 1-1. Subject, a versatile player for these Wolverines. An athlete, she can play catcher, a position that, has been pretty deep for the Wolverines this season. The 1-1 changeup in there for a called strike at the knees. On the inner half, the count moves to 1-2. Benefield unafraid to challenge hitters on the inner half. We'll see if that sets up something outside here. The 1-2 to Falk, swing and a fly ball with home run distance to left, but well foul.
Yeah, Subject got pretty solid contact off that pitch, unable to get it in the field of play. Pretty widely foul, but still an encouraging swing.
Looked like a hanging change on the inner half that went a little too high. Benefield not punished. Now the 1-2. Curveball dips low in the dirt. Good stop by the catcher, Palmagiani. The count now 2-2 on Alex Subject. Then Benefield is going to get a fresh softball. That one not doing the job for her. Not a lot of defensive shifts employed by the Mastodons thus far today. Benefield checks her armband. Now winds, delivers, swinging a rocket right back up the middle off the bat of Subject. Falk will hold at third. The throw home is cut off.
The Wolverines are really hitting into that middle gap in the infield very, very well. Getting it on the ground low enough to where Benefield can't really make a play on it off the initial contact from the bat, and that's allowing it to scoot into the grass and advance the Wolverines runners as they now have base runners at each of the corners.
That's something Hutch teaches, just stay in your process, send that pitch right back where it came from. Benefield's offerings not doing much to fool the Wolverines early in this showdown with the Mastodons. 2-0 the score. Runners on first and third with one out for Haley Hoganrod. Benefiel, a long look into the dugout. Now winds the first pitch to Hoganrod. Hard riser misses up and away for ball one. Hoganrod, an aggressive hitter, more than willing to offer at a first pitch if she likes how it looks. Head coach Jermaine Fairchild. Mind has to be racing at this point. Figuring out ways to stem the tide. The 1-0 to Hoganrod, swinging a foul back to the screen. A good pitch that tied her up on the inner half. The count moves to 1-1. Subject on first, Falk on third base. Still one out here in the bottom of the first. The Wolverines with an early 2-0 lead over the Fort Wayne Mastodons. Looking to bring their record to 22-6 on the season. The 1-1 pitch. Riser starts high, stays high. The count moves to 2-1. Hutch flashing some signs home. I think this is going to be the pitch where they put Subject in motion. Thole down at first base sort of gestured at Hoganrod to take a look down at Hutch. Benefiel winds the 2-1, squares to bunt, lays it down, and it's just a bit foul. So a play was on there, looked like a squeeze, in fact, and Hoganrod just about a foot away from executing that perfectly. As it stands, it's just strike two and the runners retreat.
That was almost an incredible bunt. Just barely out of bounds.
I'm sort of proud of myself that I noticed something was afoot.
Oh, you've seen enough softball in your day.
I have. That's fair. 2-2 the count now on Haley Hoganrod. Benefiel winds, pitch on its way, curveball, called strike three. The runner Subject goes, gets caught in a rundown. She's going to be chased back to first. The throw there, not in time. Well defended by Fort Wayne, and they get the second out of the inning on the looking K to Alex Subject. It was a smart play by, I think that was the shortstop Wilsbacher, to keep her eyes on Aiden Falk over at third base as she slowly chased Subject to the point where she couldn't rebound and run back towards second after the throw. But erring on the safe side as far as the timing, and Subject able to slide back in and beat the throw to first base.
Yeah, good work all around by the Mastodons to get the strikeout, and then to keep the Wolverines runners where they are. They just need one more out to avoid letting any further damage be inflicted. But we'll see if Katie Alexander can do anything about that.
We've seen that first and third scenario go at least 3 or 4 different ways this weekend.
And usually it does come up in the first inning.
Trying to make the other side think early. Katie Alexander now steps to the plate for the Wolverines. 0 for 2 last game. Benefiel looks in, gets the sign. First pitch. Curveball misses just off the plate inside. Count 1-0 on the Saline Slugger. Alex Subject still at first. Aiden Falk remains at third. And I've never seen Hutch test the defense again with like a repeat attempt at the strategy. The 1-0 on its way, swinging a foul back to the screen. Would have hit you right in the face, Lucas, if not for the netting in the glass.
Well, I'm very thankful for each of those protections.
The netting, at the very least, stopping us from hearing a loud thud right in front of us. 1-1 the count on Katie Alexander. The wind blowing in. Twists in the box. Stands tall, now crouches as Benefiel winds. Pitch on the way, swing and a rocket foul down the third base line. Well out in front of that was Alexander. Looked like an off-speed pitch that was up in the zone. Subject and Alexander have both yanked a couple of those foul early in this one. Courtney Richardson on deck. She'll be followed by Natalia Rodriguez.
Yeah, Richardson will get the opportunity in left field for game number 2. She played a lot, like you mentioned, last game.
The
last
1-2,
season.
swinging a ground ball hard foul off the screen in front of the Michigan dugout. Alexander not quite straightening it out yet, but keeping the at-bat alive nonetheless. Count remains 1-2 as Benefiel slams the ball into her mitt. Back on the rubber, she looks in and gets the sign. The 1-2 on its way, swing and a miss. Alexander goes down on strikes. Good job from Benefiel to rebound from some early trouble. She went soft, she went inside, pitch after pitch finally got Alexander to chase the curveball off the plate away, and that'll do it for the Wolverines in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, a couple errors really did the damage for Fort Wayne, unable to prevent any runs from being scored due to those errors. And now that could be all that Megan Beaubien really needs in order to work with is 2 runs. Obviously, she would love as much run support as possible, but you wouldn't put it past her for 2 runs to really be enough.
That is absolutely the case. Looks like Abby Skvarson full gear is behind home plate. I imagine she's just warming up Beaubien until Alexander, who was the final hitter of the inning, gets all of her gear on and gets out there and ready to go, and that is indeed the case. It'll be Courtney Holm, followed by Lexi Smolars and Brooke Immel, the 7-8-9 hitters in this Fort Wayne lineup to face Beaubien here in the top of the second. And it was a good job to rebound, as I said, from Benefiel, who took matters into her own hands after her defense was letting her down to an extent.
She did a good strikeout pitcher. Not as many walks as we saw in the last game quite yet. Not as many opportunities yet.
I think it would take a concerted effort to try to walk the Wolverines as many times as occurred last game. So Holm, a righty, plays left field. She is a senior, hitting .229 on the season. No home runs, 4 RBI. Stands tall toward the back of the box. First pitch on its way. Riser misses just high on the outer half for ball 1. The Michigan outfield and infield with that sort of permanent shift toward the opposite field, accounting for Beaubien's velocity. The 1-0 curveball skied foul over the screen, beyond us and out of play. Might even bounced on the stadium. It was certainly in the direction of the gate. So 1-1 the count, with nobody on, nobody out here in the top of the second. Beaubien winds, pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. The drop ball pulls the string. The count was 0-2, and that's strike 3. My mistake. Beaubien makes no mistake, and that's her 3rd strikeout of the game.
It's a brilliant off-speed pitch to catch the Fort Wayne batter sleeping a little bit. She jumped early, and she's headed back to the dugout now.
That'll bring up Lexi Smolars, playing third base, hitting .109 on the season. The righty awaits the first pitch on its way. Hard curveball for a called strike, a little bit above the knees on the very periphery of the outside corner. It's as good as it gets. Beaubien looks in, gets the sign, the 0-1. Changeup in the dirt. Smolars thought about it, held up wisely, and the count moves to 1-1. Smolars adjusts her helmet, adjusts her footing. The 1-1 pitch. The adjustments didn't help her as it's another curveball right on the outer edge for a called strike 2. Takes a practice half hack, adjusts her sleeve, digs her cleat in the dirt, adjusts her uniform, positions her helmet twice, rests the bat on her right shoulder, now picks it up. The 1-2 on its way from Beaubien, swinging a foul back to the screen. Would have been headed for the pole that holds up the netting, if not for the netting in front of said pole. Beaubien doing a better job of attacking the zone than she did in the first inning. The 1-2 yet again on the way. Swing and a miss. It's a changeup. Alexander fields and then tags the batter just to make sure that that ball wasn't in the dirt for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Beaubien again on the off-speed pitch. She seemed to go to that a couple times here against Fort Wayne. Seems to be warming him up with her fastball, which does reach the upper 60s, and then moving him with the off-speed pitch.
First pitch, a bunt attempt on a riser up in the zone, bounces foul. For strike one on Brooke Immel, the center fielder. The sophomore, a righty, hitting 164 on the season. Looking for a cheap way to start a 2-out rally for Fort Wayne. Beaubien winds the 0-1 on its way, swinging a pop-up foul. Might be room for Uden as she makes the catch one step away from the fence in front of the Michigan dugout for the final out of the inning. It's a routine 1-2-3 inning for Megan Beaubien and the Michigan Wolverines. They will hit in the bottom of the second with a 2-0 lead here on WCBN Sports' broadcast of Michigan softball. So it looks like it's going to be an all-freshman weekend in the circle for the Michigan Wolverines in lieu of Tara Blanco not being healthy enough to get in the circle today. She was initially pegged to be the starter in game one, and she was actually listed as the pitcher on the initial lineup handed to us up here in the press box about 15 minutes before game time, but Coach Carol Hutchins said that there was, quote, a problem and there might need to be an adjustment, and we saw Sarah Schaefer come out to actually start that game. Our sources tell us that she was drinking some cold medicine of some sort pre-game, probably in an attempt to recoup her health in time to get out there, competitor as she is, but we haven't seen her yet today. And hopefully she will be back next weekend or at least midweek. If not, you know the reason.
I'd say that this is, if like Michigan was going to have someone sick, this would probably be the best weekend to do so, just given the fact that they should be able to handle most of the competition at this tournament without Tara Blanco. And it does provide an opportunity for some other girls to step up and get as much experience as they can before conference play starts. So
Taylor Swearingen was 1 for 2 with a home run, couple of walks, took advantage of the late start at first base.
So an opportunity for Blanco to recuperate.
And now the first pitch, a big swing and a miss by Courtney Richardson, who is also seeing some time as a result of Blanco's absence, as Falk, the normal right fielder, has moved over to first base to take Blanco's spot. Hoganrod, the normal left fielder, shifts over. That leaves a gap. Richardson has filled it in. Behind in the count, 0-1. Flied out in her first at-bat, her only at-bat last game. Swings at this one and skies it foul over toward the late post on the left side. It misses the lights and lands somewhere beyond. The count now 0-2 quickly on Courtney Richardson. She's chased a couple pitches high out of the zone. Perhaps a bit over-eager to make her mark. She burst onto the scene last year with the Wolverines in the Wilson DeMarini tournament in Florida, hit a long home run that ended up being the difference in a win over Northern Illinois. The 0-2 changeup grounded on a couple of hops, bobbled by the shortstop, Wilsbacher. The throw to first, not in time. It was a hard-hit ball, but right at Wilsbacher, and she clutched at it not once but twice, and when she was finally able to get it into her bare hand and fire to first, it was just a little bit too late. It will go down as E6.
Courtney Richardson, like we mentioned earlier, not a lot of at-bats and not too much playing time so far this season, really. But that's a great way to impress the coaches and maybe make a case.
Yeah, hustle down the first, get on base, start a rally. That brings up Natalia Rodriguez. Benefiel winds. The first pitch is bunted up in the air, and it's going to be caught by the pitcher, Benefiel. The first time we've seen Rodriguez fail to execute with her role in that lefty batter's box, trying to bunt a runner over. It's the first out of the inning for the Wolverines. Richardson dove back head first. No need, no throw.
Yeah, poor execution on the bunt. Unable to get it down into the dirt, which is critical. And you're right, just the first time we've really seen her not effectively get the bunt down.
There's a high pitch. Maybe you just should have pulled back. That brings up Faith Canfield, 1-for-1 with a single to right, her first at bat. First pitch swinging, ground ball off the glove of a diving Wilsbacher and into left field. She wouldn't have had a play even if she had come up with it. And Canfield has singled to either side in this game. A single in the first, a single in the second. She's aboard. The Wolverines have 2 on with 1 out for Natalie Peters. Canfield up to 2 for 2 on the day, having quite the weekend for herself. Natalie Peters, the center fielder, 0 for 1 today. She hit with Canfield on second base after a stolen base in her first at bat, hit a grounder to the right side, which moved her to third. First pitch to her, curveball called, strike at the knees on the outside corner. Good spot from Bailey Benefiel. 2 on, 1 out, 2 runs on 4 hits for the Wolverines, no runs on 2 hits with already 3 errors for the Fort Wayne Mastodons. The infield and the defense, a lot of runners to account for if Peters puts it in play. The 0-1, a slow changeup in the dirt off the plate outside. Good block by Palmagiani.
Yeah, Peters, this time it might be more advantageous for her to get it down the left field line. Earlier in the game, we saw her head it more towards the right field, right side of the diamond, which allowed Canfield to advance to third.
The defense all looking into the dugout for a signal. The 1-1 on its way. Curveball starts outside, stays there, and Courtney Holm, the left fielder, is certainly ready for her to try to spray it to that left side. She's playing very far in and hugging that left field line. The rest of the outfield only slightly shifted toward that slab field. If she could hit it with some power to the right side, she would be running for a long time. The 2-1 on its way, swinging a pop-up foul on the left side. It's going to bounce twice on the roof of the Wolverines dugout before coming back into play to the shortstop Wilsbacher, who relays it to the pitcher. The count 2-2 on the junior lefty. Peters stands, weight on her right foot. Now back into the box as Benefiel looks into the dugout for the sign. Feet spread wide, standing straight up, bat on the ground in her right hand. Now holds it out in front. Benefiel winds. The 2-2 on its way. Curveball misses high and outside. Benefiel taps her chest. My bad. Let that one get away from her just a little bit, and the count runs full on Natalie Peters. The wind has died down as Benefiel slams the ball into her mitt.
Say about as good of weather as you could expect to get on a mid-March day in Ohio.
Now stares down Peters. The payoff pitch on its way, swinging a slow roller toward the left side, fielded by Wilsbacher. She will attempt to tag Richardson. She missed. Richardson, I think, went out of the baseline, but just to make sure she recorded the out, she flipped to third base to Smolars to record the fielder's choice. Peters goes to first, Canfield down to second. The Wolverines in stasis with 1 added out on the scoreboard as Madison Uden comes to the plate.
Yeah, just Peters unable to get enough on the ball, unable to get too far out from the infield dirt. If it would have cleared into the grass, we at least have a runner on third.
First pitch, backdoor curveball called strike on the outside corner from Benefiel to Madison Uden. Uden 0 for 1, but reached base on an error in her last plate appearance. That shallow fly to left field where the charging Holm let it bobble off of her glove. 0-1 the count. The pitch on its way from Benefiel. Curveball tried to spot it in the same location. This time it missed a bit outside. The count 1-1. The second baseman, Watson, shaded up the middle against the lefty Uden. Denny at first base, a step in from the bag and off the line. The 1-1. Curveball comes up and in. Uden takes, and the count moves to 2-1.
Yeah, Uden, we've seen some power from her, And now would be a great time for that to come in with runners on first and second. The Wolverines would love to add on some more runs here in the bottom of the second inning.
Benefield checks her armband, looks in, gets the sign. The 2-1 on its way. Change up, soft ground ball to short. Wilsbacher fields, fires across the diamond, and retires Uden on the one hopper. The Wolverines do not add to their tally in the bottom of the second. We head to the top of the third. Megan Beaubien has a 2-0 lead to work with here on WCBN Sports' call of Michigan softball.
Yeah, Canfield almost got hit by the ball on her leak out to third. Didn't end up mattering as the ball was fielded cleanly and flipped to first, but she did have to stop and redirect herself.
Mm-hmm. And that can mess with a shortstop. It's not easy to field and throw. There's already so many moving parts involved in recording an out on a ground ball. Now you have to account with essentially what's a screen running in front of you before you make the play. So well done by Wilsbacher. She has not had a perfect day in the field, but it has fielded her position aptly in that inning, recorded a couple of the outs. And as such, Fort Wayne still in this one.
Yeah, good work by Fort Wayne. A couple more base runners, but good job by not letting things get out of hand early on. Still a manageable game at just 2-0. Should the Fort Wayne Bats be able to generate any offense against Megan Beaubien?
They haven't really done so yet. Lacey Wilsbacher, the shortstop, steps into the batter's box for the second time today. The righty hitting now 277 on the season, a swinging strikeout in her first at-bat against the Michigan freshman phenom lefty.
If Fort Wayne will also need to cut down on their errors. 3 errors already in this game, which is not what you want when you take on a Power 5 team like Michigan.
First pitch swinging, a foul ball skied to the right side, a foul fly ball. Bounced a bit on the concourse, picked up by a man sporting a bright red hat. Checks his phone as he walks it down the concourse. The 0-1 on its way, changeup, swing and a miss. Pulled the string on Wilsbacher, and Beaubien's ahead in the count 0-2. Beaubien looks in, gets the sign. The 0-2 on its way, swinging a line drive foul down the right field line. It's a solid 2-strike swing from Wilsbacher on a pitch that may or may not have been off the outside edge. As Uden and Beaubien compete for the relay throw in from Canfield. Not even sure who caught it. But now Beaubien has the ball. 0-2 the count. Gets the sign, pitch on the way, check swing, pop up, foul ground. Uden charging, can't make the catch.
And while we are in the March Madness spirit, we would like to shout out the Fort Wayne Mastodons on having a big basketball win over the Indiana Hoosiers this past year.
2 years in a row they've beaten the Hoosiers. Always nice to see a team like Indiana fall. The 0-2 swinging a slow roller over to second. Canfield fields on several hops, flips it over to first for the first out of the inning.
Let's say even Dayton, who Michigan faced yesterday, has had their fair share of March Madness moments in recent years.
Absolutely.
Of course, Archie Miller now the coach at Indiana.
That brings up Lauren Watson, the second baseman. The lefty takes the first pitch, and it's a riser in there for a called strike, belt high, outside corner. Singled in front of Uden at third base in her first plate appearance. Did the slapper Watson. The 0-1 on its way. Riser this time it misses high, looking for that similar spot. Count runs to 1-1. Yeah, there are certain Big Ten rivals with whom I'll root for out of solidarity. Like, I'll root for Purdue if they're playing a non-conference game. Indiana's not one of those teams.
Really?
The 1-1 on its way, swinging a foul back high on the screen, left side. Count moves to 1-2. Yeah, I won't root for Indiana. Not rooting for Michigan State or Ohio State, obviously. Not rooting for Penn State or Wisconsin.
Well, my cousin.
The rest I'm cool with, though.
My cousin actually played basketball at Indiana, so I give them some love whenever they're not playing Michigan.
The 1-2 on its way, swinging a rocket foul on the left side. Bounces off the screen and into the bullpen. Above the Michigan dugout. Lauren Watson fouls it off, keeps the at-bat alive. Hitting 282 on the season. Not a ton of power, but she can spray it. The 1-2, swinging a slow roller back to Beaubien. Fields, turns, flips to first for the second out of the inning. One fluid motion as Beaubien ranging to her left. Fielded, and you always have the option of either turning with your back to home plate or rotating in the opposite direction. And in that case, Beaubien just allowed her momentum to carry her around. That brings up Morgan Denny. First pitch, a changeup dips low, swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt from Denny. Struck out swinging her first at bat. Doesn't look to be faring much better in this one. Beaubien gets her sign, working quickly. The 0-1. Looked like a drop ball. Couldn't find it on the outside corner. The count moves to 1-1. Denny leads the Mastodons in home runs. Beaubien gets the sign. The 1-1 on its way. Swinging a foul back to the screen. Riser in under the hands of Denny was all she could do to even make contact. Count now 1-2. Nobody on. 2 outs. Top of the third. Michigan leads 2-0 over the Fort Wayne Mastodons. Beaubien gets the sign. The 1-2 on its way. Swing and a miss. Blew her away with the high heat. The gas from Megan Beaubien gets her 5th strikeout of the game. She's through 3 shutout innings, and the Wolverines lead 2-0 heading into the bottom of the third here in Oxford, Ohio, where they have yet to surrender a run through about 3.5 games.
Yeah, electric pitch from Megan Beaubien to get the strikeout. Goes with a speed this time around rather than the changeup. And the freshman pitchers continue to deliver from the circle.
I can't relate to what it feels like to just blow away someone with the gas. It must feel awesome. I feel like I'd derive maybe even more pride from overpowering a hitter than I would from making them look foolish with a changeup or something.
Depends on if you're a finesse or a power.
Yeah, maybe that's just sort of like a forbidden fruit sort of deal. Like, because I couldn't access that feeling, that's why I place more value on it.
It's like big guys in basketball that can dunk, they always want to be able to shoot. Yeah, the little guys that can shoot, they always want to be able to dunk.
I think that's a good analogy. So due up for the Wolverines, the 4, 5, 6 hitters, Aiden Falk, Alex Subject, and Haley Hoganrod to face Bailey Benefiel, who gave up a couple runs in the first, 1 earned, 1 unearned. Through 2 innings, she's given up 4 hits, no walks, to go along with 2 strikeouts. Both of those came at the latter part of the first inning. Falk, an RBI single up the middle, her first at-bat, moved to second on the throw. Benefiel checks her armband. First pitch on the way, swinging a pop-up. Over towards second base, ranging to her right to make the catch, will be Lauren Watson, and that's 1 pitch, 1 up and 1 down for Benefiel and the Mastodons against the Wolverines lineup in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, Benefiel has looked pretty good so far, in my opinion. I don't really think the runs are her fault necessarily. She does have 1 earned run, but 2.1 innings pitched and 2 strikeouts, only 4 hits.
First pitch swinging again is Alex Subject, this time out in front, yanks a ground ball foul down the third base line. Yeah, just looking at her, I'd say she's been feeling pretty good out there.
She definitely looks comfortable out there in her first game of the day.
Now, these headphones obscure my hearing, but I think I heard the word terrible come from my left. The 0-1 on the way, swinging a fly ball, high, deep, but foul, again to left field as Subject behind in the count 0-2. That was low-hanging fruit as far as puns are concerned. Nobody on, 1 out, 0-2 on Subject. Infield shaded back, the outfield straight away. Subject 1 for 1 with a single up the middle. Benefiel, a lot of count to work with. The 0-2 swinging a ground ball back up the middle, ranging to her right as Watson knocks it down. The throw to first in time to get Alex Subject a bang call at first base, and that's 2 up and 2 down for Bailey Benefiel here in the bottom of the third.
That's a bang call, but almost another error for Fort Wayne. Almost mishandled that ball, and luckily it was a shortened, easy throw to make. But the Wolverines could have had a base runner.
A good job staying composed by Watson after she knocked it down. Didn't field it cleanly, but still able to collect and throw just in time to get subject. That brings up Haley Hoganrod. First pitch she sees, a slow curve in there for a called strike at the knees. Hoganrod struck out looking on a delayed steal attempt in her first plate appearance today. Benefield checks her signs, delivers the 0-1 pitch. Slow roller right back to the circle. Benefield fields on 2 hops, flips it over to first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. The Wolverines go down in order in the bottom of the third. We head to the top of the fourth. Still 2-0. This game by going rather rapidly here between the Fort Wayne Mastodons and the University of Michigan Wolverines.
The Michigan offense looked like it was right where it left off in the first inning, but not much going since. And Megan Bobian has been doing her thing as well. Both these pitchers may be finding a rhythm here, as it's been, you're right, rather 1-2-3, 1-2-3, quick ups and quick downs.
Yeah, it was eventful both ways in the first, with the Mastodons loading the bases through a 2-out rally, and then Michigan, as we've mentioned, getting on the board early. Ever since, not a lot of action to speak of on either end. So it'll be the 4, 5, 6 hitters in the Mastodons lineup. Palma Gianni, followed by Demetra Burns and Jenna Baltazar. Palma Gianni, one of 2 Fort Wayne hits, the only one to get into the outfield today, as she singled through the hole on the right side in her first at-bat against Bobian. Palma Gianni boasts a 6'2" frame. I'm sure he uses that to corral a bevy of pitches behind home plate, uses that to her advantage. The catcher, a sophomore, hitting .276 on the season, 1 home run, 13 RBI. Crouches low, the first pitch on its way, curveball, called strike. Great spot on the outside corner from Bobian.
Yeah, she does a great job with her pitch location and diversifying her pitches all over the plate, really making it difficult for a hitter to key in on what might be next.
Working quickly, the 0-1, swinging a fly ball, shallow right center field. Coming on to make the catch on the run is Haley Hoganrod. She takes a lot of pride in her defense, and she had a great read on that ball, a good jump, making it easy to actually collect it in.
You have great coverage by the right fielder. She did play a little bit of left field this morning, but moving on over to the right side of the outfield.
She can read it from both sides. That brings up Demetra Burns, the designated hitter. Walked in her first plate appearance. Eyes a riser as it stays outside for ball 1. Hitting 133, a considerably smaller strike zone than her predecessor in Palma Gianni. Takes that curveball as it misses off the plate inside. The count now 2-0. As Bobian, working very quickly, just steps onto the rubber, ready to go. Demetra Burns, a big swing and a foul back to the screen. Just missed that one. The corner infielders about even with the bags. Rodriguez shaded up the middle. Canfield deep in the hole on the right side. The 2-1 pitch. Drop ducks down low, and for the second time, Megan Bobian has struggled to find the plate against Demetra Burns. Burns boasts the lone Mastodon walk in this game so far, on the verge of another. The 3-1 on its way, up and in at hitter. Not going to get a walk, but still a free pass, and she's on first base with 1 out.
Yeah, Fort Wayne will look for any ways to get on base possible against a tough pitcher in Megan Bobian. That getting hit by a pitch is no exception. They will gladly take first base. But next is the hard part, and that is bringing the run around.
That one, I think, a glancing blow off of her forearm. So 1 on with 1 out for Jenna Baltazar. The right fielder grounded out to Uden, who made a nice play ranging to her left, far to her left, on a slow roller. The last plate appearance. Squares to bunt. Bunts it foul on the third base side. Uden snatches it up. Didn't look like the Wolverines were totally expecting a bunt. I like the idea to try to catch them off guard. And it was a drag bunt. Jenna Baltazar getting a running start toward first, just couldn't quite lay it down. So the count 0-1. She readies near the back of the box. Pitch on the way. Drop ball starts high, stays high. The count moves to 1-1 with 1 on and 1 out here in the top of the fourth.
Alexander popping up out of her stance, ready to throw a potential pickoff attempt, but no steal attempt is made.
The 1-1 swing and a pop-up, shallow left field. A long run for Richardson. She slides and just knocks it down. Rodriguez picks it up in shallow left field. The throw to second is not in time. Burns didn't have the greatest read on whether or not that was going to fall, but just able to dart over to second and beat out the force out. So it's a bloop single for Baltazar. And now the Mastodons threatening with 2 on and 1 out, and a conference in the circle between Beaubien and the rest of her infielders.
Almost incredible hustle by Natalia Rodriguez to get over and make a diving catch, and barely landing fair, though, is the softball. The throw almost was on time, but all things considered now, the Mastodons man first and second base.
That'll bring up Courtney Holm, the left fielder, with a chance to do some damage. Struck out swinging her last plate appearance.
And with just 1 out, the Wolverines need to execute now.
First pitch on its way, swing and a miss on a changeup. Gets away from Alexander. The runner goes to third. Will slide in safely. Burns got a great jump as a secondary lead. Sort of hesitated as she wasn't quite sure of how far away that was getting from Katie Alexander, but Alexander sort of half-heartedly snatched at it rather than getting out of her crouch and picking it up as quickly as she could.
Yeah, I don't think Alexander actually thought she was going to end up taking third. She kind of hesitated as well.
The 0-1 swinging a grounder back up the middle. Rodriguez field steps on the bag for one. The relay to first in time. It's a ground ball double play, and Megan Beaubien gets out of a jam with a little help from her infielder up the middle. Rodriguez, the 6-3 double play, and the Mastodons still scoreless through 4 as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Michigan with a 2-0 lead.
Well, after a couple tough-to-handle bounces, the Wolverines do an incredible job at turning a double play and keeping their scoreless streak alive. All zeros still for Fort Wayne on the scoreboard.
I'll tell you, because of the sort of lack of video availability, my only impression of Natalia Rodriguez's defense, unfortunately, was when she sort of biffed a hot shot up the middle in the 7th inning of what at the time was a perfect game for Megan Beaubien against Florida State. So my first impression was a negative one, but ever since, she's just been so rock solid at defense at shortstop. Beaubien out of a jam, and so Benefiel still heading out to the circle with as much run support as she has had for the duration of this game. Looking to set down a Wolverines lineup that she set down in order last inning. It'll be Katie Alexander hitting first, followed by Courtney Richardson and Natalia Rodriguez. 2 runs on 4 hits, no errors for the Wolverines. The Mastodons, no runs, 3 hits, and 3 errors. Certainly a bit of danger there. Katie Alexander, the best defensive catcher that I've seen or heard this season so far for the Wolverines. So a bit of a rare, hard to really call it a mistake, but rare moment of imperfection.
It just looked like a slow reaction, and I mean, the throw was on target to third as well, but just late. Just a step behind.
No harm, no foul. And now she comes to the plate. Benefiel gets the sign. First pitch on the way. She takes, and it's a curveball that catches the inner half for a called strike 1. Benefiel unafraid to challenge these Wolverine hitters on the inner half with her first pitches. 3 innings, 4 hits surrendered, no walks, 2 Ks. 1 earned run, 2 runs total. The 0-1 on its way. Slow curveball. Plunks Alexander on the upper arm. Didn't make much of an attempt to get out of the way of that one. Just sort of turned and let it glance off of her bicep. She'll take first base with the hit by pitch.
Well, we mentioned that earlier in the broadcast that Benefiel will go inside and is susceptible to hitting batters.
That's the first one she's put on via the hit by pitch today, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe there was one other that I'm forgetting. Either way, that brings up Courtney Richardson. Reached base on an error by the shortstop, her first plate appearance. First pitch she sees, she yanks foul, a line drive down the left field line. She swung at the first two pitches she saw in her first at-bat. Swings at the first one here, a pitch up above her chest. Looks like a volleyball sometimes when it's up there off speed, but not able to barrel it up. Benefield gets the sign. The 0-1 pitch on its way up and in, and it hit her. That one a little more difficult to avoid as she looked ready to turn on it and swing, and only too late realized that that was coming up and in. It plunked her off her left forearm, and the Wolverines have two aboard with no out, both via hit by pitch.
Back-to-back hit by pitches, and Wolverines starting to load the bases up. No out still as they're about to turn back to their top of the lineup.
I would be stunned if Natalia Rodriguez does not attempt to sacrifice bunt here.
Yeah, she cannot let it get up on her this time.
Benefield winds, first pitch. She squares to bunt, pulls back, and it's a curveball that I think maybe one atom of the softball caught the very edge, maybe an inch off the edge of that outside corner. It's a close pitch, a good pitch from Benefield. No balls, one strike. Rodriguez, the shortstop, stands tall, now crouches athletically. The 0-1 on its way, squares to bunt, pulls back, and this curveball misses off the plate away for ball one. The defense in action. Immel, the center fielder, positioned in left center, but is charging in to back up a potential throw to second. Smolar's the third baseman, charging along with Denny at first, as Watson, the second baseman, will be covering first. The 1-1 pitch on its way from Benefield does not show bunt. Instead runs up and lets the curveball go by for a ball outside. The count now 2-1. Perhaps trying to catch the defense over-anticipating. So 2-1 on the slapper Rodriguez. Immel, the center fielder, in shallow left center at the moment. The 2-1. She takes, and it's a curveball in there for a called strike on the outside corner. The count runs even at 2-2.
Yeah, maybe now she'll try and get that bunt down, having a couple opportunities to see how Benefield will attack her as the batter.
A little less likely now that a foul bunt would count as a strikeout. The 2-2 pitch on its way from Benefield. Half cut, swing and a miss. Rodriguez down on strikes, and that's the first out of the inning. Going for more of a swinging bunt there, it appeared.
Still trying to get the ball down short and not let it get too far into the base paths, it would appear, to make Fort Wayne make a decision, but played pretty well, I'd say, by Benefield. And first out of the bottom, or top of the, no, it's the bottom of the fourth. My bad.
Yep, that brings up Faith Canfield. Swings the first pitch she sees and skies it foul to the right side into the parking lot. Some tough luck at bats for Natalia Rodriguez. She's 0 for 2 on the day. The Wolverines only 4 hits here in the bottom of the fourth. Canfield bats with Alexander on second, Richardson on first, 1 out. Looking to add to the Wolverines' 2-0 lead. Pitch on the way, she bunts, lays it down. Benefield waits for it, now fires to first and records the out. Good patience there by Bailey Benefield. The bunt between home and the rubber toward the third base side. Maybe not far enough toward that side to get Canfield aboard, but it does move up the runners.
Looks like the Wolverines are going to substitute batters right now.
And look who it is. It's Tara Blanco. A pinch hitting appearance for Natalie Peters. Coach Carol Hutchins looking for some Kirk Gibsonian magic. The ailing slugger out of the dugout, trying to give the Wolverines a jolt of energy. So Blanco, the righty, seeing her first at-bat of the day.
Well, Canfield set her up to have 2 runners in scoring position. And let's see what Blanco is able to do in her first action of the day.
Wonder how difficult it will be to come in and face a pitcher you haven't seen yet, cold off the bench, and it still is pretty chilly. Benefiel looks in. First pitch on the way. Blanco takes. It's a curveball just off the plate inside. We'll call it a good eye from the Michigan senior slugger.
Kind of had to move her legs out of the way a little bit.
So Blanco rocking the bat back and forth like a golf club. Now rests on her right shoulder, stands tall, stares down Benefiel. The 1-0. Swinging a fly ball high, deep into left field, tracking at the fence, the wall, and it is gone. A pinch hit home run for Tara Blanco. A Blanco blast, and the Wolverines lead this one 5-0. Probably the only at-bat she is going to see today, and she absolutely made the most of it.
Wow, that's incredible. To come in allegedly being sick. We don't really know.
Allegedly being sick.
I don't know if that might have been the case.
That's the healthiest swing I've seen out of her this weekend.
Maybe, maybe they were just saving her for one good hit. Man, oh man.
Oh, that's sensational. The Wolverines take a 5-0 lead now over the Mastodons. The base is cleared with 2 outs for Madison Uden.
Well, she coughs a home run over the fence and is out of here.
Nice.
Wow.
So the pinch hit gambit from Carol Hutchins pays off. Been saving her in reserve for the one moment they wanted to use her. And man, oh man. Uden 0 for 2 reached base with an error in her first plate appearance. Squares to bunt, pulls back. The curveball misses off the plate, low and away for ball 1. Uden taking a couple of practice hacks. The now roughed up a bit Benefiel looks into the dugout. Gets the sign, winds. The 1-0 to Uden. Curveball misses a bit low. Count moves to 2-0.
Uden definitely capable of some power in her own right. She might try and follow up her ailing teammate, Tara Blanco.
2-0 the count on Uden. Benefiel trying to recover and escape without any further damage. The 2-0 on its way. Slow breaking ball misses off the plate, low and away, and the count runs to 3-0 on the ever-patient lefty, Madison Uden. Aiden Falk awaits on deck, and suddenly you have to wonder how long the leash is from Germaine Fairchild for her ace, Bailey Benefiel, who is struggling here in the bottom of the 4th. The 3-0 pitch on its way, Uden taking all the way, and it's low for ball 4, a 4-pitch walk to Madison Uden following the 3-run Blanco blast.
I actually didn't think that Uden was ready for that pitch. I think she was still kind of collecting herself, but then she just kind of looked it in and was like, okay, I'll take first base.
So Aiden Falk up to the plate, 1 for 2, an RBI single, and a pop out to second in her 2 at-bats. Pitch on the way. Changeup starts high and outside. Never had a prayer. Falk lets it goes by. Lets it go by. The count 1-0 on the senior now first baseman, and Germaine Fairchild going to have some words now with Bailey Benefiel. Not sure whether or not she's making a call to the bullpen. Looks like a lengthy conversation, which leads me to believe that she's gauging how much Benefiel has left in her, and I would imagine she'll leave her in at least for now.
Yeah, with 2 outs in this inning, I'd imagine she'd at least give her an opportunity to finish up, like attempt to finish off 1 or 2 more batters, which she does. Benefiel will stay out there. Aiden Falk, who is 1 of 2 today.
So Falk rocks back and forth in that lefty batter's box.
Does have an RBI.
Benefiel winds, the 1-0 on its way, swinging a hard ground ball fielded on one hop by the second baseman Watson. She steps on the bag at second for the force out, and Michigan goes down in the fourth inning, but not until after they record 3 runs on an absolute moonshot off the bat of the pinch hitting Tara Blanco.
A 6 swing from Tara Blanco, as now she actually will take first base.
Oh, okay. So maybe not quite a Gibsonian effort.
Maybe not just a one and done effort for Tara Blanco.
Obviously, she has proven.
If you're good enough, if you're in good enough shape to hit a home run, then you're probably fine to stand on first base.
Yeah, I'd say so. So Beaubien back out to the rubber. She'll be facing Lexi Smolars, Brooke Immel, and then Lacey Wilsbacher, the 8-9-1 in the Fort Wayne order. Now staked out to a 5-0 lead heading into the top of the 5th.
Beaubien should be able to handle this lead pretty safely. I'm pretty confident in her abilities to protect the lead. Would be interesting to see if the Michigan Bats could maybe tack on 2 more runs in the bottom of the inning when they get the opportunity. But for now, it'll be Beaubien talking up with Tara Blanco in the circle.
So Smolars at the plate, 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. 5 runs on 5 hits, no errors for the Wolverines. No runs, 3 hits, 3 errors for the Mastodons as Smolars steps into the righty batter's box. First pitch, swinging a foul tip, bounces right behind home plate, handled by Alexander for the first strike. So the count 0-1. Beaubien in a rhythm. Checks her armband, looks in the 0-1, a swing and a foul back to the screen from Smolars, reaching out to just touch that one as it's off the plate away. So the count quickly 0-2. Beaubien, 4 shutout innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. The 0-2 swinging a slow roller foul down the third baseline. Snatched up by Maddie Uden. Smolars jogs back to her spot. Adjusts the jersey, the pants, the helmet. Taps the outside of home plate. Readies the 0-2, swinging a pop-up, going to stay on the infield. Blanco ranging from her spot at first base. Makes the catch in what one might consider no man's land between first, second, and the rubber for the first out of the inning. A lot of little jam shots die there and sort of skitter away from the infields for infield hits, but Blanco poised to make the play. First pitch to Brooke Immel, an ugly swing at a ball that bounced in front of home plate for strike 1.
Pretty nasty low ball pitch from Megan Beaubien, eliciting a swing.
Really brings to mind Megan Betts' drop ball from last year. The 0-1 pitch on its way, swing and a miss. Went from that to some high cheese, and Immel not able to square up either. It comes from a different side, as Betts was a righty, but just the spin and the foolish looks that Beaubien is able to elicit, just like Betts was, it brings to mind similarities. The 0-2 on its way, swing and a miss.
3 straight swings.
3 straight misses, 3 straight strikes. Number 6 on the day for Beaubien. And that was the changeup low and away.
She loves that as a finishing punch.
I'll have to ask her whether she prefers finishing with the gas or the changeup. She'll probably be diplomatic and say both. First pitch, a curveball, misses high for ball 1 against Lacey Wilsbacher. The pitchers don't get much say in what they get to throw. Occasionally they do shake off the calls from Biggie Brundage and Carol Hutchins, but as the 1-0 pitch, a curveball, misses low for ball 2. But in the end, the coaches do have that final say. if you start shaking off a bunch of pitches, you're going to see an early hook, especially in a rotation as deep as the Wolverines. Wilsbacher, the leadoff hitter, skies one shallow right field. Kinfield ranging onto the outfield grass, making a catch on the run over her head with the backhand for the final out of the inning. It's another 1-2-3 affair for the Mastodons. They go down quietly. We head to the bottom of the fifth. 5-0 Michigan leads here on WCBN Sports' broadcast of Michigan softball.
Another athletic grab for Canfield. She backtracks towards the grass, similar to the warm-up drills that they often do. And now it's going to be up to the Wolverines' bats to continue the work that their offense produced in the fourth inning. Mostly produced by Tara Blanco.
Yeah, she had to have some base runners get on ahead of her, but just the 3-run homer is a beautiful thing. With one swing of the bat, the entire complexion of the game changes from a tight pitcher's duel into what we have now, a comfortable lead for one of the best pitchers in the country. Bailey Benefiel resumes her spot in the circle for the Fort Wayne Mastodons. She's been up and down today. Last inning, more of the down as, of course, Tara Blanco tagged her, but the lineup she will face this inning, the 5, 6, 7 hitters in the rotation, or in the Wolverines lineup, and Alex Subject, Haley Hoganrod, and Katie Alexander. Subject 1 for 2 on the game today. A single up the middle and a ground ball to Lauren Watson that she knocked down and barely got Subject at first on. She leads off the bottom of the fifth. Benefiel checks her armband, gets her sign, winds. First pitch curveball, called strike, well located on the inside half. Subject takes off her helmet. Now steps back into the box, stands tall and waits for Benefiel to get her sign and deliver. She does. The 0-1 on its way to Subject. Changeup misses high for ball 1. The Wolverines have not looked particularly fooled on the off-speed offerings from Benefiel. A couple they've been out in front on and fouled off, but haven't seen any of the loss of composure sort of foolish-looking hacks. The 1-1 swinging a fly ball skied foul beyond the concourse, beyond the Michigan bullpen and out of play. So 1-2 the count on Alex Subject now as the fans have started to trickle in here. Always a strong maize and blue contingent.
Now, some of the more Ohio teams might be filling in for their afternoon games.
The 1-2 swinging a hard ground ball on one hop straight at Wilsbacher. She fields, flips to first for the first out of the inning. Solid contact from Subject, but right at Wilsbacher. Not too challenging for the defense. 1 up, 1 down for Benefiel in the bottom of the fifth against the Michigan lineup, and that brings up Haley Hoganrod. Hoganrod 0 for 2 in this one. A strikeout looking and a ground out right back to Benefiel in her 2 at-bats. The Michigan righty rests the bat on her right shoulder. Now raises as Benefiel winds, delivers. She swings, turns on one, and rockets it foul down the left field line. Home run distance, not home run angle, as it's about 30 feet foul.
It's a nice-looking swing by Hoganrod, but just unable to get it in the field of play.
Totally barreled it up. But it's just a long, loud strike. The count 0-1 on the Michigan outfielder. Benefiel gets her sign. Pitch on the way. Curveball starts low and stays low for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody on for the Wolverines in the bottom of the fifth. They lead 5-0 over the Fort Wayne Mastodons. 5 runs on 5 hits for Michigan. No runs, 3 hits, 3 errors for Fort Wayne. The 1-1 on its way. Changeup misses high, bounces off the top of the glove of Palmigiani, the catcher, and trickles back to the backstop for ball 2.
Yeah, harmless. High ball, no runners on for the Wolverines, so back to work for Bailey Benefiel.
Back onto the rubber she steps. Hoganrod awaits. The 2-1. That's a called strike right down Broadway. A curveball thigh high. Looked like a pretty good pitch to hit. Hoganrod disagrees, and the count moves to 2-2. Infield and outfield still straight away. Watson, the second baseman, near the edge of the dirt. Shaded a bit up the middle. The 2-2 is swinging a pop-up foul off the top of the screen and back down behind the catcher, Palmigiani. The third baseman, Smolars, a few steps off the line and a couple steps behind the bag. Denny mirrors that position down at first base. Hutch, feet little over shoulder length apart, rocking all blue today. Watches the 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Haley Hoganrod down on strikes. Not having her best game at the plate. She's 0 for 3.
And that's good piece of pitching by Bailey Benefiel, trying to extend this game, give her team another chance or two.
It was that curveball tailing away from Hoganrod, maybe even a bit off the plate away. Plenty of velocity to it, too. Tough to make contact. That brings up Katie Alexander 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch. Benefiel winds, first pitch on the way, swinging a pop-up foul ground, should get out of play. And it does. It falls into the Fort Wayne dugout. So only foul and out of play by a couple of feet, but still a strike rather than an out, as Denny had plenty of time to get to the fence. Mm-hmm. Either not willing or not able to climb on top and reach over. Not many players are.
It's a tall fence to climb.
It's a tall order. The count 0-1 on Alexander. Nobody on, one out here in the bottom of the fifth. Benefiel winds. Pitch on the way. It's a changeup that, again, stretches the upper regions of Palmigiani's catching radius. The count moves to 1-1. Benefiel, a long look into the dugout. Gets her sign. Winds. The 1-1 to Alexander, swinging a pop-up foul. A pitch up in the zone and inside. The kind of pitch I think she wants to turn on and drive over that left field fence, but Benefiel doing a good job of keeping her off balance, not letting it quite get in that pull field wheelhouse. So the count now 1-2 on Katie Alexander. Taps the dirt on the outside part of the plate. Taps the middle of the plate. Crouch down. Pitch on the way. Curveball misses low for ball 2. Close pitch. A good take there from Alexander. Came in at about her shins. So the count 2-2 on the junior out of Saline, Michigan. Benefiel gets the sign, pitch on the way. It's a changeup that misses high for ball 3. She's consistently missed high with that changeup.
Yeah, first time all game this inning really that she's been going high on this pitch, and I'm not quite sure why. Luckily for her, there haven't been any base runners for the Wolverines that can potentially advance or take advantage of the slow pitch, but definitely a area of concern potentially.
The payoff pitch on its way to Alexander, swinging a fly ball deep left center field. Has she done it again? It's her second home run of the weekend for the Saline Slugger, a solo shot for Katie Alexander, and she gives the Michigan Wolverines a 6-0 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. No doubt about that one. Hit it to the deepest region of the ballpark, but that ball just made a different sound coming off of her bat. That'll be Alexander's 4th home run of the season.
Wolverines
hit her third yesterday.
Wolverines continue to display the power that is this lineup possesses. That gets them to 6 runs, but just you can't really say enough about what this offense has come to since the beginning of the year. From what it was to what it is now, it's just come such a long way.
That's the 5th earned run, 6th run total given up by Bailey Benefield through 4 2/3. She faces Courtney Richardson now. First pitch called strike. Caught a good chunk of the outside half. Richardson 0 for 1. Reached base on an error by the shortstop Wilsbacher and got hit by a pitch in her last plate appearance. Benefield looks in, gets the sign. She winds the 0-1. Big swing and a miss. That ball up in the eyes of Courtney Richardson. She saw it but couldn't connect, and the count moves to 0-2.
Yeah, Richardson wanted to get on the power too, but she chased way upstairs and got caught looking goofy on that one.
So now behind in the count, Richardson has been aggressive in her swings at the plate. The 0-2 on its way from Benefield. Swing and a miss. 3 strikes on 3 pitches, 3 swings, 3 misses for Courtney Richardson. She goes down on strikes, and the Wolverines go down in the 5th, but not until after another home run for Katie Alexander puts them ahead 6-0 against the Fort Wayne Mastodons here on WCBN Sports' broadcast of Michigan softball. Once again, thanks to everyone who has tuned in. It's been an enjoyable trip. I don't think Michigan has lost in anything since we've come down here.
Yeah, literally, they haven't lost in anything. I think the women's basketball team won on Friday night. Men's basketball team obviously won last night. And the softball team has literally not allowed a single run.
Women's gymnastics too, right?
Women's gymnastics, Big Ten champions, regular season. I believe they have their championship meet next weekend. It's like their version of the Big Ten tournament. But it's been another solid weekend for Michigan athletics. I believe the hockey team also just secured a 2 or 3 seed. I don't remember exactly which one for their NCAA tournament. Today was Hockey Selection Sunday.
The baseball team is losing 1-0 to Bowling Green at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So not all is well in Ann Arbor.
Oh, well.
Most of it is, though.
I think the women's swim team as well clinched a top 4 finish at the NCAA championships, which is an outstanding accomplishment for them, especially if you look at the turnaround that program has gone through in the last couple decades. So congratulations to them, as Megan Bobian now steps back up to the pitching rubber for the top of the 6th.
First pitch, curveball just misses away for ball 1 to Lauren Watson, the second baseman, who is 1 for 2 today. The slapper lefty with an infield single, her first at bat, a ground out. Back to Bobian in her last. The 1-0 on its way, swinging a ground ball, diving stop by Rodriguez. No chance at getting Watson at first base. She couldn't hold on to the ball anyway, but even if she had, Watson's beaten that one out. So first runner gets aboard for the Fort Wayne Mastodons.
Just a well-hit ball down the third base line. Got by Uden's glove. Rodriguez, great effort to dive and stop it, but unable to collect it. And you're right, the throw would not have been in time.
First pitch bunted back foul into the screen by Morgan Denny. Trying to get Watson over to second and scratch across 1 run. Again, don't get trading and out for a run down 6 in late innings, but well, that's about it. The 0-1 on its way. Now a swing and a fly ball. Straight away center. Camping under it and making the catch is Haley Hoganrod, who has now moved to center field as Blanco entered the game, pushing Falk out to right. Falk taking the place of Natalie Peters in the lineup. I guess a bunt would have been more productive than that, to be fair. Hindsight is 20/20. That brings up Maria Palmagiani, the catcher, 1 for 2 on the game today. Wide out to right her last at bat. 1 out, the runner on first. Lauren Watson, Bobian winds, first pitch. Change up, misses low for ball 1. Good eye there from Palmagiani. I would have swung at that. Bobian back on the rubber. She is ready before Palmagiani is. The 1-0 hard riser started low, stayed that way. Also outside, the count moves to 2-0. Palmagiani's gotten some good swings against Bobian today. One of few Mastodons who can say that. Bobian winds. 2-0 is a drop ball that again ducks down low. The count 3-0 on the Fort Wayne catcher. Alexander trots out to share some words with Bobian. It's got to help as a catcher having some height, being able to look down at your pitcher and, give them some advice.
Well, I'd say either way. I mean, Bobian just a freshman. She'll take any advice from these upperclassmen that she can get.
Ideally, you'll be like a sponge in that spot. The 3-0 hard curveball just misses off the plate inside, and Palmagiani down to first base with a 1-out walk. So the Mastodons threatening. They've had a few innings in which they've put runners aboard. And there will be a pinch runner over at first base. It'll be Sydney Windlin, a junior, taking the place of Palmagiani. So 2 on with 1 out for Demetra Burns, who has reached base in both plate appearances.
Appears there might be a pinch runner now for the Mastodons.
That would be Sydney Windlin over first. Burns walked in the first inning, hit by a pitch with a 3-1 count in her last at-bat. First pitch, riser misses low and away. Maybe Bobian's just having trouble adjusting from a 6-2 strike zone to Demetra Burns, because she hasn't been able to find the zone against this 133 hitter. The 1-0 on the way. Curveball misses high, and the count runs to 2-0, and now Jennifer Brundage out for, I think, the second time this game to share some words with her freshman ace.
Yeah, I believe so. She's just having a tough time putting it on the corner of the strike zone, which she so often likes to do. See if this mound visit is able to pay off and maybe just calm her down a little bit, enough so to get out of the top of the sixth.
It's overly simplistic to boil these sorts of things down to, just let him hit it. But when you got the stuff that Bobian does, certainly the language might take a more nuanced form, like attack the hitters as opposed to dancing around them. Maybe there's just something mechanically that she is not executing as it is Brundage out there instead of Hutch. Either way, we'll see if she can make an adjustment before she walks a few runs in. So Burns, the righty, hitting 2 of 15 on the season, has seen her on-base percentage bump in this game, stands toward the back of the box. Wide stance, her upper body torqued back a bit. And there's a strike from Megan Bobian. Caught a good chunk of the outer half, thigh high.
Say that's a pitch that we're more used to seeing.
Plenty of speed. Burns steps back in, crowds the plate a bit, swings and fouls one high off the screen on the right side. Alexander didn't see where it went. Now picks it up off the dirt to her right, in the count now 2-2. That one ran up and in on the hands of Demetra Burns, the DP. 2-2, 2 on, 1 out. Top of the 6th inning. Bobian winds. The changeup got her looking like a house on the side of the road, as Ernie Harwell used to say. Second out of the inning. That was filthy.
That was a dirty pitch. A really dirty pitch.
A Michigan fan rose up to punch out Burns himself off to the left side in the first row.
He could help the ref do that one. I think everybody in the stadium knew what that call was.
Another crisp arcing changeup to Jenna Baltazar is a called strike at the knees on the outside corner. Ever since that conference, she's thrown 4 straight strikes. That one misses high. Now a throw down to second from Alexander. They're not going to catch Watson leaning. Good base running to draw a throw. Alexander just making her think the count 1-1 as that pitch missed high. Baltazar 1 for 2 today with a single to left. 1-1 half cut and a miss. Another changeup down in the dirt. Bobian is wielding that weapon with authority right now. One strike away from getting out of the jam. The count 1-2 on the lefty Baltazar. Beaubien winds, pitch on the way, swinging a foul back to the screen. Looked to blow her away with the high heat. Didn't quite get it high enough. It was in on the hands. Good location, but Baltazar gamely staying alive.
Yeah, just one strike away from retiring the last batter of the top of the sixth. Expected to come with a changeup.
The 1-2 fouled off in front of the Michigan dugout. Baltazar again fighting it off. The lefty stands toward the back of the batter's box, slightly open stance. The 1-2 on its way. There's the change, and it misses high for ball 2. Didn't quite get the spin or the location she wanted there. So now 2-2. 2 on, 2 outs. Top of the 6th. Fort Wayne looking to get on the board through their lefty right fielder. The pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Beaubien blew her the way. I think that was the curveball. Outer half. Baltazar could not catch up. So through 5.5, Michigan leads 6-0 over the Fort Wayne Mastodons. Megan Beaubien with 8 strikeouts through those 6 innings of work. Strong stuff from the freshman.
Yes, both the freshmen have had extraordinary weekends. Megan Beaubien likely will get one more chance back to the circle in the top of the 7th inning.
Beaubien's allowed more base runners than Sarah Schaefer. I don't think, the statisticians out there may correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Sarah Schaefer has issued a walk the entire weekend through 12 innings of work.
I don't recall. I mean, obviously not
She
today.
definitely didn't today.
But I don't think she did yesterday either.
And we do have a new pitcher throwing for the Fort Wayne Mastodons. It'll be number 17, Shayna Eyre.
Freshman
out of Pitt Meadows, British Columbia. She was named to the Canadian 2017 Junior Women's National Team Athlete Pool.
Well, how about that?
Helped her team to a gold medal at the 2015 U16 Canadian National Championships.
Wow.
On the season, 63 1/3 innings pitched, a 5.53 ERA, 5.59 ERA, 56 1/3 innings pitched, as Stat Broadcast says. 31 walks, 22 strikeouts. She'll face Natalia Rodriguez and then the top of the Michigan order. Eyre, a tall righty. Winds, delivers. That's going to be a bump base hit for Natalia Rodriguez. Just a picture-perfect bunt.
She finally got it.
Baseline.
She finally got it down this game. Had a couple hiccups, getting one high and then unable to get one down earlier in this game, but that one was about as good as it gets.
You could have placed a penny down where the ideal bunt would go. That ball would have rolled and stopped right on that penny.
That was beautiful.
So Rodriguez, her first hit of the game, and that brings up Faith Canfield, representing the game-ending run here in the bottom of the 6th with the Wolverines with a 6-run lead. Eyre winds, pitch on the way, swinging a ground ball foul on the left side off the screen in front of the Michigan dugout. Canfield 2 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt in this one.
Canfield shown some power this weekend.
That sacrifice bunt, of course, set up the on-deck hitter, who at the time we thought was Natalie Peters, but ended up being Tara Blanco, who went yard. The 0-1. Curveball starts outside and stays there. The count 1-1. Canfield hitting .433 with runners on base this season. The catcher, Palmagiani, and Eyre both looking into the dugout, waiting for the sign. The count 1-1, the pitch on the way. It's in the dirt. Aggressive secondary lead from Rodriguez, but she scampers back to first as the pitch misses low for ball 2. Canfield out of the box. Back in and ready. Bat rests on her right shoulder as she stands tall, now crouches a bit lower. As air winds the 2-1 swing and a rocket ground ball off the glove of the third baseman over to the shortstop. Wilsbacher, the throw to first, pulls Denny off the bag. It was really a nice reaction by Wilsbacher to corral that and almost retire the speedy Canfield at first base, but the throw just not quite on target.
Yeah, that was nice work by Canfield just to get such a hard hit on it. That was really tough to handle, and although Fort Wayne did eventually do so, she also got a great jump on her hit, great reaction time, and able to beat out a high throw.
Yeah, it was Lexi Smolars over at third base who had it ricochet off the webbing. So Canfield's aboard, 2 on, no out for Tara Blanco. Takes the first pitch. It's a curveball outside for ball 1.
Blanco's first at-bat since her dinger.
Blanco 1 for 1 on the day, averaging a home run per at-bat, 3 RBI per at-bat, 1,000 average. The 1-0 on the way, changeup. Looked pretty juicy to me, but Blanco wasn't ready for it. The count 1-1 as that one splits the heart of the plate.
She might be waiting for that perfect one more time.
Well, I'd love to see it. It'd get us on the road a little earlier. Air gets the sign, winds the 1-1. Another changeup. This one stays high, and the count moves to 2-1 on Tara Blanco. The righty slugger near the back of the box always has a wide stance. Stands tall as she waits for air to get ready. Now rocks back the 2-1. Low and inside. Good block in the dirt there by Palmagiani to keep that in front of her. And the count moves to 3-1 on Tara Blanco. Got to imagine she's getting the green light. We'll see if she gets the pitch she wants. Evidently seeing the ball quite well today, despite her diminished condition.
Small sample size, as Alex Drain would say.
The 3-1, curveball off the plate away. It's a 5-pitch walk for Tara Blanco, and the base is now loaded for Madison Uden. Faith Canfield, the would-be game-ending run down at second base here with no outs in the bottom of the 6th.
So Uden has an opportunity.
The infield drawn in to cut down the runners at home. Seems like about this point, every game where Uden will hit a grounder back up the middle for a single. She set that pattern.
Yeah, usually after a couple at bats, then she really does settle in.
First pitch curveball, backdoor called strike on the outside corner. Good frame by Palmagiani, the catcher. Uden behind in the count, 0-1. She is 0 for 2 today, reached base with a walk and also reached base on an error by the left fielder Holm back in the first. Outfield deep along with that drawn in infield. Plenty of room to bloop one in. The 0-1 on its way. Hard curve misses low for ball 1. Now nowhere to put the lefty Madison Uden. Seeing some time in that 3 spot in the order today. Kicks some dirt around in the box. Waves the bat back and forth. Rested on her left shoulder. Crouched low, the 1-1 from air. Swing and spoils a pitch low and away back to the screen. The count moves to 1-2. Just sort of reached out with one hand and poked it. Not necessarily protecting the plate with less than 2 strikes. Just a bit off balance. Good pitch from air. Now she's got 2 strikes. The count 1-2. She holds the bat out in front. Air winds, pitch on the way. Swinging a rocket ground ball. Gloved by the shortstop Wilsbacher. Fires home for the force on Natalia Rodriguez. And that's the first out of the inning. The bases remain loaded for the Wolverines, and Aiden Falk will hit. Solid contact from the lefty Uden, but right at Wilsbacher, who took a step to her right, reached across her body with the backhand, and made a strong throw to Palmagiani, covering home.
Yep, she knew what to do with it.
Aiden Falk is 1 for 3 on the game today. Perhaps the only of the Wolverines' premier power hitters to not leave the yard yet this weekend. First pitch from Air skitters in the dirt for ball 1. Falk, a single up the middle back in the first. Couple of hard ground outs since then. First time she has seen Shayna Air today. She winds the 1-0, big swing and a miss. Rise ball up and out.
Man, if she made contact with that pitch, that may have been the one that goes yard, but just a big whiff.
Might still be flying. As it stands, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th. The Wolverines a 6-0 lead over the Fort Wayne Mastodons. Air winds, pitch on the way. Another changeup again misses low. Air swings her right arm across her body in disappointment. She's missed down in the dirt twice this at-bat, behind in the count 2-1 on Aiden Falk. Looks into the dugout, checks her armband on her left forearm, and winds. The 2-1 on its way. Rise ball misses high, and the count moves to 3-1 on Aiden Falk. Air going to have to find the zone and find it soon. Falk, ever the free swinger, might be able to get her to chase even, but with the power that she has, you really don't want to groove one on 3-1. Falk, the lefty, awaits the 3-1. Misses high for ball 4. It's a bases loaded walk. Second verse, same as the first for the Wolverines, as they score like the 6th or 7th run that they have today with a bases loaded walk. This one, the first one in this game.
Yeah, quite a few of those against Robert Morris, and now the Wolverines just need to bring 1 more home.
That brings up Alex Subject. The game-ending run over at third base in Terra Blanco. Air winds, pitch on the way. Curveball misses a bit low for ball 1. In baseball Twitter, they call it shrimp, a walk-off walk.
Really?
Because of some video of a shrimp walking on a treadmill to Benny Hill music. It's hard to explain, but we're close to that.
Interesting.
That would require some Google work. The 1-0 on its way misses off the plate inside. 2 balls away from ending the weekend undefeated. Paul Maggiani out to the circle to share some words with Shayna Air.
2 balls away from ending the weekend undefeated, having scored at least 7 runs in every game and not giving up a single run.
Some strong numbers.
I mean, it's a business trip, and they took care of business.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We'll see if Subject looks to swing here, ahead in the count 2-0. Looks ready to me. The pitch on its way. She does swing, chops it high on a hop to third, step on the bag for 1 out. The throw home in time for the double play. They tag out the sliding Terra Blanco as Smolars retired the force out at third. So it's a double play to end the inning. The Wolverines stuck at 7 heading into the top of the 7th inning here on WCBN Sports' broadcast of Michigan softball.
Well, an unfortunate bounce there for the Wolverines as they're unable to finish it up in 6, but just gives 1 more opportunity to Megan Bobian to
rack up some stats.
Exactly.
Credit Paul Maggiani, the catcher, Maria Paul Maggiani, for the awareness. The awareness to make that tag play, though, because going into that play, there's a force out at home where, you got to throw. All you got to do is step on the base. But because Smolars stepped on third base, that made it so Paul Maggiani had to apply the tag. Not only was it difficult physically because the throw was sort of high, also, you go from sort of automatically thinking, all right, I receive the throw, I step on home plate, that's an out. You got to make that adjustment real quick in your mind, and Paul Maggiani did it, executed, and as such, the lineup is going to have 1 more shot.
Yes.
So top of the 7th, Bobian has been excellent, per usual. The lineup she will face, leading off, appears to be a pinch. No, that's not a pinch hitter. I just can't read a lineup. It's Courtney Holm, the left fielder. The 7, 8, 9 spots in the Fort Wayne lineup. Holm, the left fielder, hits right. First pitch, up and in, almost hit her. Twists out of the way. The count 1-0. Some gas from Beaubien. Holm 0 for 2 on the day. The 1-0, swinging a fly ball left field. Stepping in and then back and then just settling under it is Courtney Richardson, the left fielder. Those shades that she's wearing doing the job as the sun probably right in her eyes at this point in the day for the first out of the top of the 7th.
You can see the glare off her sunglasses a little bit from here. And 1 up, 1 down. 2 more to go for Megan Beaubien.
That'll bring up Lexi Smolars, the third baseman. 0 for 2 today. First pitch from Beaubien. Swinging a tapper foul. Looked like a changeup that would have been low and outside. Credit Smolars for even getting a piece. She's behind in the count 0-1. Beaubien checks her armband. Umpire calls time. He's got to brush off home plate.
Very important part of the job description.
Got to be able to see the plate to call the zone. His brush work leaves something to be desired. The 0-1 on its way. Hard curve misses off the plate away for ball 1. The back door closed for Megan Beaubien. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Nobody on for Fort Wayne in the top of the 7th. They trail 7-0 to the Wolverines. The 1-1 pitch, that curveball caught the zone, and Smolars swung right through it underneath. The count moves to 1-2. Beaubien a chance at strikeout number 9. She's got 8 through 6 1/3, giving up 4 hits, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch or 2. It's the sign. The 1-2 swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes Lexi Smolars, and that is 9 strikeouts for Megan Beaubien.
Another nasty pitch to get her. And Megan Beaubien does have an opportunity to reach double-digit strikeouts for another game.
Went upstairs with speed, and the senior Amber Davis will be pinch hitting for the Fort Wayne Mastodons. She is the last gasp for the extinct species. I am disappointed at the lack of riffing on the mascot Mastodons I've incorporated into this broadcast. Maybe next time they face off. Davis, the pinch hitter, hits from the right side. First pitch, rise ball, called strike outside corner. Wouldn't be surprised if that touched 70.
Would you say they've had trouble with a meteor of home runs?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. I wouldn't, but you did. 0-1 curveball, called strike. That time finds the back door at the knees on the outside corner. The count 0-2 on Amber Davis. Beaubien checks her armband, looking to send the Wolverines home smiling. Gets the sign. Pitch on the way. Riser misses off the plate away. Count now 1-2 on Davis, hitting .217 on the season. Beaubien gets the sign. The 1-2 check swing. It was that off-speed changeup, bounced well in front of home plate. Maybe if she bounced it behind home plate, she would have baited a swing. But as such, not going to get the Mastodon to go fishing. I don't think that's part of their diet, but
not much fish during the Ice Age.
The 2-2 rise ball misses way high off the glove of Alexander. There had to be fish during the Ice Age. There was still like liquid water, well, I think. I'm no paleontologist.
Not like lakes.
Any paleontologist experts out there can tweet at WCBN Sports if they have corrections to make.
Please include the hashtag science.
The 3-2 pitch, curveball misses. Low and outside for ball 4, and Davis keeps the Mastodons alive, a successful pinch hit appearance. She's on first with a 2-out walk. That's going to bring up the shortstop, Lacey Wilsbacher. She's 0 for 3 today. A strikeout, a ground out to second, and a pop out to second. First pitch from Beaubien, changeup, check swing. She went too far as that dipped down low around her shoe tops. Strike one. Davis, the runner at first, no stolen bases yet this season. The 0-1 on its way, swinging a slow roller to short. This ought to do it. Rodriguez plucks it off the dirt, fires to first, and it's a shutout victory. The fourth in 4 games this weekend for the Michigan Wolverines. Their third 7-0 win as they take down the Fort Wayne Mastodons. The Wolverines undefeated, 35-0. They outscore their competition. The lineup showed out today, highlighted by a Terra Blanco 3-run home run, and they will shake hands and head home happy.
Excellent work by the Michigan Wolverines all weekend long, not to overlook any of their competition, to get the job done and play to their potential. No letdowns, really. I was pretty pleased with the way they played in all 4 games.
Well, I'm proud to say I haven't had to buy any gas since leaving Ypsilanti on yesterday in the wee hours of the morning, but we're going to have to fill up that tank and head home now. It's another 4-hour drive, but these Wolverines have made it worth the while. For Lucas Vargas, I'm Morris Fabry. One final time, thanks so much to all of those of you who have tuned into our broadcast. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope to see you the next time we're calling some Michigan softball action. So for all of us at WCBN Sports, I'll leave you with a good night and a go blue.